as you can see that I have created a new Flutter project and we only have a scaffold, that is a blank scaffold. First thing first, I have done some pre-configuration to my project, that is go to your pubspec.yaml and you can see that I have the custom fonts here. So I've created a new folder named as fonts and I have all my custom fonts. I'll be using circular font here, so you can always download that from the internet and use that, and you can use any font that you wish to use in your Flutter application. As well as I've created a new images folder and inside that I have all the icons images. Let me just show you the UI design for once. So you can see that we have all the different kinds of icons here. So for that I've created a new file and name it as configuration file. As you can see in my left folder, I have a configuration.art file. Inside that, what do you have? I have a primary green color, that is I picked this color, this one, right? And next we have the box shadow. I've created a box shadow, that is every widget or every container here has some kind of shadow to it, right? So I created a custom shadow to it. How to create it, you can always see my container video. I'll add the link in the description, as well as the Wallet UI video where I use the same concept and I explained it in detail, right? So next is the category name and the images. Now this is the now these are the images that I downloaded from the flight icon files, and you can see that I have the name, that is cats, and then the icon path or the images path. You can see that inside my images I have this cat icon. Now these icons might differ because these are all custom made by the designer, so I didn't had any intention to copy it and make the icons. So that's it for the pre-configuration, and now let's see how we can code this.
The growing developer.
Normally what do we have is the drawer overlaps our UI. Now this time our UI goes towards right side and we see the hidden drawer, right? So how to implement that, let me just show you. So let's see the structure. We only have a scaffold with us. So what I'm going to do is, as a body to this scaffold, I'm going to pass a stack. Why am I using a stack? Let's understand the concept behind how I implemented this. For this I'm using an animated container. My previous video is specially for the animated container, that's why I made this, so that you get the concept first and then the implementation. So the animated container is like, first we have this green screen containing all the text and the buttons, and then we have the upper screen which will be our home page screen, which will be our dashboard screen, right? So let me just repeat. We have one more screen that is hidden behind this screen, below this screen, so we'll be using a stack. First screen over another screen, so our first screen is this, and over this we'll have this white screen, right? Hope you understand. Let's do the implementation and you will understand better. For stack as a children, I'm gonna pass two widgets, name as the drawer screen, and then it will be our home screen. Now these two widgets are yet to be made, so let's quickly make them. So inside this lib I'm gonna make two new files. It's your wish how you structure the program. I'll be using a direct files to it, right? You can always add some different folders. So it will be home screen dot and the other would be our drawer screen. So inside this drawer screen I'll quickly import a material package and I'll create a stateful widget. Inside the stateful widget I'm gonna pass drawer screen as a name, and for the container let it be container, and next is the home screen. So let's quickly import the material package and everything will be same, a stateful widget, name it as home screen, right? Go to your main file and import both of them. Now what do we have? We have nothing. Like, we do have two containers but they don't take any space. So what we're going to do, we'll go to the drawer screen, and for the container part, what I'm going to do, I'll give it a color of primary green, the custom color that we had, right? Save it, and you can see that the color is green. So what do you see here? We have a drawer screen. Drawer screen is taking up the green color, and the home screen is not at all taking up any color. It is of transparency, transparent color. So let's go to home screen, and I'll add a color of white. Let's see. There you go. Now where is the green screen? The green screen is hidden behind this, below this container. Done. Now okay, so how are we supposed to add the effect, the drawer effect to it? So we will be making a button here, and on press of that button, what I want is this UI to be shifted towards right as well as scaled to some proportions. Understand with this UI, when this button is pressed, this gets shifted towards right and is getting smaller. So how to implement it? We'll be using an animated container, right? So we'll quickly go to home screen state, and for this I'm gonna change it to animated container rather than a simple container. Now this takes a duration, so for the duration I'm gonna pass milliseconds, 250 milliseconds. 250 milliseconds is actually my preferred timings when you are doing any kind of animations. Next thing is, let's make a button here so that we can toggle from between two screens. So let's quickly see the UI. We have the menu button here, and then we have the name, the location and the image of the user. So as a child, I'll quickly give it a column. Why am I using a column? Because this will be our main screen, so everything will be aligned in a vertical direction. So first, as a children, first one will be a row. As a row, first one is an icon button. Let the icon be icons.menu, and on pressed, it will be nothing right now. Let's save it, and you can see that the icon is here. So to give some margin to this, I'm gonna use a sized box, and the size box as a height, I'm gonna give it height of 80. There you go. Okay, it is actually way much. There you go. 50 is good. And after that, what do we have? After this button, we have the location. So as a column, are the children. So let's see the UI. What's in the UI? We have a column. First one is the location text, and then is the actual location. So we'll use a text saying location. And then we have our text saying Ukraine, and done. Right? So you can wrap this with a row if you want to add an icon to it. So it will be icons dot location, and the color would be primary green, right? Save it, and you can see that we have the UI. Now we need to give some space between them. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna give it a main axis alignment of space between, and you can see that they are widespread. You can always play with the margins and the paddings. I'm not going deep into that. What I mean is that you can always wrap a row with a container and give it a margin from symmetric and from horizontal axis a 20 pixels margin. So you can see that we have the spacing. So I'll not be going deep into these concepts like giving spacing and all that. Why I'm making this video is to implement the drawer, right? So next thing is, on press of this button, I want this container to be shifted towards right side and be smaller in proportion, right? So you can see that on press of this button, I want the container to be shifted towards right side. Okay, so how to implement that? What we can do is, Let's make some variables. First one will be a double x offset equals to 0, and then we have the y offset equals to 0. Sorry for this. Right, now why am I using this? Because on press of this button, I'm going to toggle these values. I'm going to toggle these values and increase them so that I get some cool offset from x-axis as well as from y-axis. And one thing more, I'll be using another variable and name it as scale factor. It will be 0 initially, or rather 1, right? So these are the values that I'll be using and playing with. Understand this, that in animated container, whenever we are toggling something, we need to set them as a variables and initial values to be your desired values, right? And next thing is to toggle it, right? So we have one parameter inside this animated container which is known as transform. This take up as matrix4 dot translation values. So if you have seen my previous video on animated container, you would be knowing what are these translation values. So these are the values how I want my container to be shifted. Translation means moving from one place to another. So for x offset, it will be x offset. For y, it will be y offset. Sorry, it is y. And for the z, it will be 0. That is, for the z axis, I don't want it to be translated. We are not playing with any 3D kind of stuff. And next thing is, I want it to scale. So you can always scale your widgets. So for the scale factor, it will be scale factor, right? If I restart this application, we won't be seeing any changes. Let me just right. Now if I restart this application, you saw that we didn't had any changes, right? So why were there no changes? Because we haven't actually given anything. These are the default values, and let's change the values on press of this button. So whenever this button is pressed, I'm going to set state. Always remember to set state whenever you are doing or playing with stateful widget, because then only you will be getting the changes in the UI. And next is, when this button is pressed, I want the x offset to be maybe 230. These are some random values that I'm choosing. And for the y offset, I want it to be 150 maybe. Let's stick with 150. Try different values based on your device pixels, and the scale factor to be changed to 0.6, right? So what I expect is that when this button will be clicked, the offset will be 230, y offset will be 150, and the scale factor will be 0.6. That is, this screen will convert itself to 60% of the original value. Save it, and let's test our button. If I press this, you can see that we have the shifting. Now one problem is that when I'm pressing this again, this is not coming back because we have not created any button for that, right? So let's write the logic for it. So one thing that I want a variable, I should have some variable that tells me if this drawer is open or closed. So we'll create a boolean variable that will tell if the drawer is open or not. It will be bool is drawer open. Initially, what will be the value? False. Okay, always remember to give some initial value to your boolean expressions, otherwise you'll get some error, right? So initially it is false. So once this icon is pressed, adding to all this stuff, I'll write is drawer open as true. That is, my drawer is now open. Now if this drawer is open, I want the icon button to be changed to a back icon, right? So I'll add the conditions here. See, I'm not going through the structures as your project to be structured. I'm just explaining you the concepts here. So bear with me the structures that I'm following. So I'll write is drawer open. If it is open, that is if the value is true, then I want the icon button to be of back icon, right? So I'll declare another icon button here. Now this will have another function. Now this will have separate functions and this will have separate functionalities. Now the icon for this will be icons dot arrowback iOS, and on pressed, what are we supposed to do on pressed? We'll set state and the x offset value will be converted to 0, y offset value should to be set as 0 as well, and the scale factor to be set as 1. Don't put at 0 here because that will be the 0% size. And next thing is drawer open, it should be set as false. Done. Makes sense, right? So let's restart this application and see. If I press this, you can see that this icon has changed. It has converted into back iOS icon, and if I press it, you can see that it just came back to its original position. So that's for the drawer part, and next let's quickly make the UI for us. let's create a container, and for the height of this container, let me just give it a 240 pixels. As a child to it, I'm gonna make a row, right? As a children, okay, now understand, we have a row. First one will be this, and second will be the description of the cat that we are discussing here, right? So let's create the first part. I'll be using two expanded widgets. Why? Because I want both of them to have equal spacing and equal spaces. So two expanded widget will ensure that the complete space is taken up. Now next thing is, for the first expanded, as a child to it, I'm gonna pass a stack. Why I'm using a stack? Because again, if you remember that this image needs to be placed over this container, right? So for that, as a children to it, let's create a container. Okay, so I've created a container. Let me just explain it once again. I've created a container. I've given it some border radius as well as some shadows. For the margin, I'll give it margin from horizontal axis as 20 pixels, right? Now this is the container. I've not created anything else. It's just a normal container given some decoration to it. After that, what I'm going to use is a line widget, right? Inside this align, as a child, I'll use image.asset. Now I have this image in my assets folder. It is images, and let's see the name. So you can see that I have an image known as cat pet1 and pet cat2. So images slash pet cat 2.png, right? And let's save it, and you can see that we have our cat. Now it automatically pops up. Why is it popping above this container? Because I've given some margin to this container. Okay, that's the cheat part here. You can increase the margin, and you can see that this container below is getting some margin, but this image is not getting any margin. So it's up to you how you're gonna implement everything. That's the cheat that I use. That's how you're gonna implement the UI. And let's move forward and quickly make the other container. So I'll quickly give some decoration to it. You can see that we have the container here. Now this container is taking up the entire space. I don't want it to take the entire space. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just give it a margin, and from top only I'll give it a margin of 50 pixels. It is of same size, so let's give it a margin of 60 pixels, and from bottom I'll give it a margin of 20 pixels, and there you go. Looks much cleaner, much better. Now this container is actually square, so to give some shadows and to give, first let's give it some shadow. So it will be box shadow and the shadow list. And then what else do we have? We have to give it some radius. So for that it will be border radius dot only, right? So that is, I don't want it to have some radius from here as well as here. This needs to be squared, this needs to be sharp. Only these two radius has to be rounded. So for that we have border radius dot only, we have top right. This takes up the value as radius dot circular and give it a value of 20. And then we have bottom right, same values, save it, and you can see that we have the UI here. Okay, this will be the first part I'm going to wrap for this video. I'll not be going any further. Why? Because the main thing that I wanted was to show how we're going to implement the drawer here and how we're going to implement all these UI, the shadow stuff, and the image to pop out from the container. Now in the next part, in the second part of this video, I'll be uploading that in 1 or 2 days. So we'll complete the drawer part as well as this second page. So I guess you can make the UI till here. It's just simple. You make a column and the text widget, the icons and different icons they have used, right? So that's all for this video. Hope you like the video, hope you enjoy the video, hope you learn something from this video. Please write in the comments what else do you want, and if you are happy with the video, any feedback, any recommendation, any suggestions are much appreciated from your side. And if you like the videos and if you like the contribution that I'm making, I have all the links in the description. You can always contribute there, and that will be a huge motivation for me if you donate there, if you contribute there. And so thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you're having a nice day, a nice time. Goodbye.